Good morning. We begin with serious news from our nation's capital. On November 25, 2025, violence erupted near the White House. 2 West Virginia National Guard members were shot while on duty. The attack, in one of the country's most secure areas, raised urgent questions about security and the military's role in D.C. One suspect was quickly apprehended, reportedly wounded in the process. The FBI, led by Director Kash Patel, is investigating the motive and circumstances. Initial confusion surrounded the soldiers' condition, with West Virginia's governor mistakenly announcing their deaths before correcting the record. In response, President Trump called for 500 more National Guard troops to be deployed to Washington, D.C., aiming to reinforce security and project strength. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed the request, promising swift action. The city, already hosting a significant Guard presence, now faces an even larger deployment. This incident has reignited debate over the military's role in public safety and the balance between security and civil liberties. Washington, D.C., stands at the center of a national conversation about law, order, and the presence of soldiers on American streets. To understand the military buildup in D.C., we look back to summer 2025. President Trump launched a federal initiative to crack down on crime, citing local failures and deploying the National Guard on August 11. Uniformed soldiers became a daily sight, intended as a deterrent and to support federal law enforcement, not to act as local police. The move was controversial, sparking debate about the proper use of the military in domestic affairs. Trump repeatedly claimed his strategy was making D.C. safer, but official police data contradicted his boasts. The deployment, initially described as temporary, lacked a clear end date, fueling uncertainty among residents. Over time, the mission shifted from anti-crime to a broader focus on security, especially after the recent shooting. The presence of the Guard has become a flashpoint in the city, symbolizing both federal intervention and local resistance. Critics argue the deployment undermines local authority, while supporters see it as necessary for safety. The debate over the Guard's role in D.C. has only intensified as the situation evolves. The city remains divided, with no resolution in sight. The number of National Guard troops in D.C. has fluctuated since August 2025. At its peak, about 2,500 soldiers from various states were stationed across the city, highly visible near federal sites. By late November, the number had dropped to around 2,200, but the recent shooting prompted a request to raise it to 2,700, the highest yet. This escalation signals the administration's intent to maintain a strong federal presence. The deployment involves cooperation between state governors and the federal government, adding political complexity. The White House has avoided setting an end date, heightening anxiety among city officials and residents. Legal documents suggest the Guard could remain through summer 2026, or even longer if a national emergency is declared. The indefinite timeline has become a major point of contention. The future of the deployment remains uncertain, with both legal and political battles ahead. For now, the soldiers' presence is a daily reality in the capital. The military presence in D.C. quickly sparked a legal showdown. In September 2025, D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwalb sued the Trump administration, seeking to end the National Guard deployment. Schwalb argued the use of troops for domestic law enforcement was illegal, violating laws meant to separate military and police roles. The lawsuit claimed the federal government was overstepping, undermining D.C.'s autonomy and its police force. Mayor Muriel Bowser, while publicly cooperating, privately urged caution, revealing divisions within city leadership. The Trump administration countered that the Guard was supporting federal agencies and protecting federal property, not replacing local police. This disagreement over the Guard's true role became the heart of the court battle. The case set up a high-stakes conflict between local governance and federal authority. Both sides dug in, knowing the outcome could set a national precedent. The legal fight highlighted the tension between security and self-governance. As the case moved forward, the city's future, and the Guard's, hung in the balance. The court's decision would have far-reaching implications. The nation watched as D.C. challenged the White House in court. In November 2025, the legal battle reached a turning point. Federal Judge Gia Cobb ruled the National Guard deployment for law enforcement was unlawful, a major win for D.C. However, she paused her ruling until December 11, allowing the Trump administration time to appeal. This created a legal limbo. The deployment was deemed illegal, but the troops stayed put. The administration prepared to appeal, likely extending the fight for months. The shooting of 2 Guard members during this period added urgency and complexity. The White House now points to the attack as justification for keeping troops in the city. The case's outcome could reshape the boundaries of federal power and military involvement in domestic affairs. Both sides are bracing for a prolonged legal struggle. The city remains tense, with the fate of the deployment unresolved. The next court decision could set a powerful precedent. For now, the soldiers remain, and the debate rages on. The nation awaits the final verdict. Central to the legal fight is the Posse Comitatus Act, passed in 1878. This law restricts the federal government from using the Army or Air Force as domestic police, preserving the line between military and civilian authority. The act reflects deep American fears of military overreach and protects local control. DC's lawsuit argues the Guard's deployment violates this principle, claiming soldiers are acting as police. The National Guard's unique status complicates matters. It can serve under state or federal command. The Trump administration insists the Guard is supporting federal functions, not policing the city. The court must decide if the Guard's actions cross the line into law enforcement. Judge Cobb's ruling suggests she believes they do, but the administration's appeal argues otherwise. The final decision could redefine how the Guard is used domestically. The stakes are high for future deployments across the country. The outcome will shape the balance between security and civil liberties. The National Guard deployment has split the nation. Supporters, led by President Trump, argue it's essential for safety and crime prevention, especially after the recent shooting. They see the Guard as a necessary backup for law enforcement and a deterrent to violence. The administration frames the mission as a partnership, not a takeover. Opponents, including Mayor Bowser and Attorney General Schwalb, argue D.C. can police itself and that the military presence undermines local authority. They say the deployment creates fear, not safety, and sets a dangerous precedent for federal overreach. Critics warn it blurs the line between military and civilian life, threatening democratic norms. The debate is about more than crime. It's about who controls the city and the proper role of the military. Both sides are deeply entrenched, with no easy compromise in sight. The controversy continues to fuel national debate. The facts behind the deployment are hotly contested. The Trump administration cites a crime crisis, but D.C. police data shows violent crime at a 30-year low. Homicides have dropped sharply since 2023, and even more since the Guard's arrival. Despite this, President Trump's claims of 0 murders are contradicted by police records. Public opinion is also divided. Polls show most Americans oppose the Guard's deployment in D.C. Many see it as federal overreach, not a solution to crime. The disconnect between official data and administration rhetoric fuels controversy. City leaders argue the deployment is unnecessary and unpopular. The debate extends beyond D.C., raising questions about the use of military force in American cities. The controversy is as much about public trust as it is about safety. The nation is watching closely as the story unfolds. As of November 26, 2025, the future of the National Guard in D.C. is uncertain. The recent shooting has intensified the standoff between the city and the White House. President Trump's call for more troops signals his commitment to a strong military presence, while legal appeals continue. The court's final decision will have national implications, defining presidential power and the military's domestic role. Until then, the Guard remains on D.C. streets, and political tensions are high. Mayor Bowser and Attorney General Schwalb continue to push for local control and the troops' removal. Trump threatens to declare a national emergency, raising the stakes even further. The city's residents are caught in the middle of a historic power struggle. The situation in D.C. reflects a broader debate about law, security, and democracy in America. Fundamental questions remain. Who should police our cities? What is the military's role at home? As legal and political battles continue, the nation waits to see what the future holds for Washington, D.C.